This is Todd Toback. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to gear up your wholesaling for 2024 and have a banner year. But before we jump in today's show, I've actually got a special gift for you, and actually a new gift for some of our listeners. If you have not been over to our website, head on over to nextlevelwholesaling.com/one page. That's nextlevelwholesaling.com/one page. And there you could actually download a copy of the business plan that you need for 2024. It's super easy. It's one page. It's going to take you about 20 minutes to fill it out. And I tell you what, it's going to keep you really focused on what to do for this upcoming year. If you're looking to have that first $250,000 net year, or $500,000 net year, or even $1 million, you got to head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com/one page. So today's episode actually is going to center around that one page, and I'm going to make this super simple for you. If you're feeling like you're overwhelmed or you're confused and you're kind of swimming in all the details of your business, we're going to break it down, right? Just take a deep breath. I'm going to really simplify this for you. I've gotten this from a number of books. One of them is the book, The Rockefeller Habits. Phenomenal book. So I go check that out, otherwise known as Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. And so I've really kind of trimmed this down over the years to just make this really easy for you. So my goal for you, by the way, is to go ahead and download that. So if you could download this before the episode, maybe pause it, or right after, that's fine. Again, nextlevelwholesaling.com/one page. So I have found over the years, coaching the most successful wholesalers across the country, that those who know how to focus on the most important things make the most amount of money. It's not about having a huge giant team, although you do need a team. It's not about filling a big office building full of as many people as possible and flexing on how big your operation is. Really, I want to know how much money you are making in the least amount of time possible, right? I want you to make a ton of money and not be working all the time. And that is the purpose of a business. Now, there's going to be periods of time where you're going to be working harder than others, and I totally get that, and I respect that, and I've done that too. But once you get this thing going, man, you're going to have a great team taking a lot off your plate, and you're going to be making a ton of money. So the first thing that I want you to focus on is, what is your goal revenue for 2024? Okay. And again, this is going to be right on your one-page plan here. And so I want you to give yourself something that's a stretch, but also realistic. So if you made $100,000 a year in your, let's say your first year, your second year, how are you going to get that to $500,000 this first year or in this next 12 months? And that is a very realistic goal. If you did 500,000, can you double that and go $1 million? And I know you can, but if you've only done 100,000, and you're going to try to jump at 10 million in 1 year, I'm going to say that's probably too much. So let's be realistic. And the reason why is that we're actually going to break this down into small, manageable, bite-sized pieces. So let's pretend for a second your goal revenue for your business is $1 million. Not that hard to do. Could be 500. If they are 500, just cut to what I'm telling you in half. Next, and this is a big one. You got to decide your market. Way too many of you listening to this are spread out over multiple markets, and you are mediocre in all of them. I've got a lot of people who call my office and they want coaching, and they're like, Todd, I'm struggling. I was doing really good a year ago, and now things aren't going that well. And I ask a few more questions, and almost always those people are in multiple markets doing mediocre things. And I can tell you, once you fully saturate a market and you've done everything in your power and your business is running smoothly and you have one that's extremely profitable and you can't do anything more with it, maybe move on to a second one. But I got to tell you that way too many people have one market that's actually not profitable, and then they go open up another one thinking that is the solution. Like, stop the insanity. Come on. It's like, if you can't do it in one market well, you're not going to do it in the second market. More of mediocrity is not better. Focus, focus, focus. Dear God, focus. One market. I got to tell you, I've coached the most successful people in wholesaling in the country. And all of my students are in one market. That's my goal for you. So write that down. Now, the next thing. I want to know your desired return on your ad spend. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast, hopefully you are focused on doing big, fat, juicy deals. And that return on ad spend should be no less than 4-to-1. Okay, 4-to-1. Could you make it work at 3-to-1? Yeah, you could. But I want you really, really, really focusing on, for every dollar that you spend, making 4. Okay, I'd really like you to 10. But keep it so that you know which marketing channels to focus on. Okay, next. So now that you know that marketing channel and you want to know what your desired revenue is for the year, okay, you now can choose that marketing channel that's going to have you win in 2024. Now, I also, just like the market, see way too many people spread out over a ton of crappy marketing channels. And so you got to eliminate all the crap and you got to focus on the one that's going to be making you money. Now, I'm a big fan of direct mail. I love direct mail, right? It is one of the most predictable ways to get deals. You often have to be just a little bit more patient. It's going to be a 6-month time investment, but you're going to get a lot of deals that your competitors are going to pass up. So those are kind of my 2 for 2023 and 2024, along with influencer marketing, which I've talked to on other podcasts. But you got to get one going, and it's got to be dialed in before you add the others. Okay, so that being said, you got to create a little budget here, right? You know your goal revenue, you know the market, you know your desired return on ad spend. So, for example, if you want to make $1 million a year, and that's going to be around $80,000 a month, and you want to approximately get 5 times your ad spend, you're going to be having to spend between $8,000 and $16,000 a month in marketing. Okay, if you're going to get 5 times, it's going to be around $16,000 a month to do 80. If you're really good and you're a ninja and you're a really good closer and you're doing deals, you could do 10 times your ad spend, right? So then you're only going to have to spend $8,000. So you're like, Todd, I don't have $8,000. Okay, fine. Then you're going to, at the beginning of the year, you're going to have to lower it so that you're going to be making $500,000 a year for just maybe for the first 6 months, but that's okay. So find a way to spend $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, and don't tell me that you can't find it, because if you can't find it, you don't want it bad enough. Okay, go get a second job for 3 months if you have to. Raise the money, sell some crap, sell a car, put it on a credit card, borrow the money, get a business partner for a year, and tell them that you will split the deals with them for the first 6 months or a year until they're paid back a certain amount, then end the partnership and agree to that up front. I don't care. Stop making excuses, because I don't know any other business where you could stick $1 in and get $5 back as easy as real estate wholesaling. So why would you put your money in any other place? Why the hell would you invest money in depreciating assets, or drinking, or going to the bars, or whatever it is that you do that's less important than making 5 times your money? All right. Now, you don't have to do that forever, right? The beauty of this is once you've got a business that's cranking, you can buy what you want. And I want you, when you can afford it, to buy a really, really, really nice car, that your dream car that you want, and go on the dream vacations and have the dream house and buy your wife that dream piece of jewelry. I want that for you. But there's a time of sowing and there's a time of reaping. And if you're listening to this and your business is not where you want it is, now is the time of sowing. Okay, so invest in that business and know what you've got to sacrifice to make it happen. How bad do you want it? Okay, next is who will help you get there? So I can tell you this, being a one-man shop and trying to make any money in any business does not work. Anything amazing is going to have to be a team effort. And I've heard this said before. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So if you're like, Todd, I don't like employees, fine. Then be prepared to have a lonely business in which you're working 80 hours a week, in which you are a slave to it, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, completely exhausted. If you want a fulfilling business that's going to take a little bit more time to build, you don't have to have 100 employees. I'll tell you what, with 3 employees or a 3-member team, including you could be doing $1 million a year. Okay, so think about that. So who do you need to get there? If you are now a solopreneur, you got to make that first hire. In my opinion, that's a good virtual assistant who's going to take all that administrative tasks off your plate. You got to do that this year if you're not doing it now. Check out nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/VA, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/VA to find out one of my favorite ways to get virtual assistants. Next, once you decide, by the way, who you are going to help you get there, by the way, you might also want to consider a lead manager. Lead manager is someone who can screen your leads for you, and that's going to save you like 85% of your time. So they answer the phone, they find out who needs to sell, who wants to sell, who's thinking about selling, and passes those hot leads on to you. You should be closing. Closing is like the most valuable skill in this business. And by the way, if you don't have a copy of the No Limit Selling System, what the hell are you waiting for, right? Go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/no limits sales system.com. Okay, big, fat, juicy deals. You want to spend as much time as closing as possible. If you want to outsource your closing to an acquisition specialist one day, hey, that's great. Make sure they're trained. Lastly, what are some of our obstacles? So you got to write down your obstacles on getting there, because this is really, really, really simple, right? This is one page. What are some of your obstacles to getting there? Maybe you are in a bad partnership that you've got to get rid of. Maybe you have a bad employee that you need to get out of the business. Maybe you have a spouse who's kind of helping you, who would rather not be in the business, and you can't rely on because they don't really want that. They'd rather you handle the business, right? Maybe it's time you hire that VA, right? And retire your spouse from the business. I know a lot of people have their spouse work in their business, and they can't really hold that person accountable because they're married, right? I know I couldn't do it, right? So maybe you're in 4 different markets right now and everything's mediocre, 3 different markets. And you've got to say, okay, I've got to decide between shaving these 3 and I got to focus on these 1. That's an obstacle, right? And then you've got the solution to each one. Very, very simple. And that's it. You fill out this plan. It could take you like a half an hour. I'm telling you what, you are well on your way for 2024. So first step, nextlevelwholesaling.com/1 page. Write in your goal revenue for the year. Make it a stretch, but realistic. 2, pick a market. 1, that's 1 market. 3, your desired return on ad spend. 4, pick out your marketing channel and your annual spend for the year. You got to make it something significant, okay? $3,000-$4,000 at a minimum. Don't tell me you can't get it. Make it happen. It's the best return on your money that you could possibly think of. Who's going to help you get there? Okay, I never met a solo entrepreneur that did anything special. And then 5, write down your obstacles and then the solution to each one. Don't forget to check out nextlevelwholesaling.com/1 page. And I cannot wait to hear about your 2024.